The US war with Iran, launched on 28 February under the codename Operation Epic Fury, has been in limbo since a ceasefire took hold in early April. While Washington and Tehran have engaged in on and off talks, the Pentagon has quietly explored renaming the mission to Operation Sledgehammer if large-scale strikes resume. Senior US officials fear the ceasefire could collapse, and they are preparing military options that would be framed as a new operation rather than a continuation of Epic Fury. Now, this rebranding choice is not just a cosmetic makeover, it is tied directly to how the White House wants to interpret the 1973 War Powers Resolution, which limits unauthorized wars to 60 days unless Congress signs off. Operation Epic Fury was the codename for joint US-Israeli strikes designed to cripple Iran's leadership and security apparatus, beginning with a devastating opening barrage on the 28th of February. The initial campaign that killed Ali Khamenei triggered massive missile and drone retaliation by Iran across the region before offensive operations were paused about 40 days in, when a ceasefire was announced. Even after Secretary of State Marco Rubio and President Donald Trump publicly described Epic Fury as finished and its goals accomplished, Pentagon statements and CENTCOM postings continued to use the Epic Fury label for the broader Iran mission. Now, officials say that if Trump orders a new wave of strikes after the current truce breaks down, those combat operations would run under a different name. Operation Sledgehammer is among the leading options under consideration. The ceasefire, brokered on 8th April and extended later that month, was intended to create space for diplomacy on Iran's nuclear program and regional attacks. But talks have stalled, and Trump has warned that the truce is on massive life support as Iran resists US demands and delays reopening the Strait of Hormuz fully to commercial shipping. Now, two officials told US media outlets that they expect the ceasefire to collapse and see the naming debate as a sign the administration is leaning toward renewed major combat. Remember, Trump has already convened senior national security aides, including Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, to examine military options in Iran and the wider region under a potential new operation. Now, under the War Powers Resolution, presidents must notify Congress within 48 hours of sending US forces into hostilities, then secure authorization or end the operation within 60 days, with a possible 30-day withdrawal extension. For Epic Fury, that 60-day window expired in early May, raising the risk of a direct clash with lawmakers over an open-ended Iran war launched without a formal authorization for the use of military force. The Trump administration has argued that the clock effectively stopped when the ceasefire began, insisting in letters to congressional leaders that hostilities had terminated and that no exchange of fire has occurred since 7 to 8 April. Now, renaming the mission Operation Sledgehammer would give the White House an additional legal talking point that any new large-scale strikes constitute a distinct operation, triggering a fresh 60-day war powers countdown from the moment Congress is notified. Legal experts note that presidents of both parties have frequently stretched or sidestepped the war powers framework, and some question whether a mere name change can reset the statutory clock in practice. But the administration appears prepared to make that argument if Iran War Round 2 begins.